Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to the 5th round of the Apex Online Racing Sprint Cup Series. It's round 5. It's a Tier 2 Tuesday, which means it's Tier 2, as the name would suggest. Welcome along, and this week we are at Ricard. Mixed weather this evening. It looks like it's going to stay dry all the way through qualifying. We're going to jump on board with our car that is first out the pits. It's looking like it is the homing missile himself, Jimmy Holm. They are on their outlap here. 16 degrees ambient, 16 degrees track temp as well, so a little bit warmer than it was for the Tier 1 guys yesterday. Should be very, very interesting to see how things goes. And even though this is the Sprint Cup series, this is technically one of our micro endurance races. So it is 90 minutes, which means there is a change to how it all works. There is essentially no mandatory tyre change, and you are allowed to refuel. So depending on what the weather does, that could put in some seriously different strategies. We might see 2 stops, we might see 1 stop, who knows? Both strategies worked well last night for the Veloce team, so we'll have to see how it all goes this evening. But this is one of those circuits where, although it is very flat and there is basically absolutely no altitude change whatsoever, it is a circuit that really does invite drive-through penalties due to the track limits. Lots of places, especially if it gets wet, where mistakes are very, very easy to make, especially turn 8 at the end of the back straight. It can get very, very choppy. But here we go. This is our first car number 777. We'll see if we can jump on board the dashboard of this car. Yes, so this is 777 Jimmy Holm starting the first flying lap here. This is going to be the first sort of benchmark to see how it goes. Moves all the way over to the right-hand side, runs a bit of the curbs just before the cone, throws it into that left-hander at turn 1. Sends another cone absolutely skyward. Running it all the way to the outside, basically running the curbs, staying as far to the left as possible, trying to keep his corners as short as possible, and then hard on the brakes. Throwing it into the S's. Gets it nicely done. All the way round. Gonna have to keep pushing. Wings it through turn 7, and now this is it. This is the back straight. Now this is where people's races will be made or broke this evening. I think the only place that's got maybe a longer sort of straight than this is the Nürburgring, which is coming later. I think as the 1st of April that game is, that track is set to be released. So that should be very interesting. Right, wings it through turn 8. This is a high commitment turn. Can go outside, but you can't hit those little paddles. There we go, he avoids those. Long old turn 9. Very easy to make mistakes here. It just keeps going and going and going. If you start to understeer, it's amazing how quickly you can end up in the wrong place. It's round 11. Swinging it again into 12. Running a lot of inside curve there. Onto the brakes into 13. Essentially, you've got a hairpin as the final corner number 14, and dash to the line. Here we go. This is where we're going to get to see the first flying lap. And what does Jimmy Holm set? A 1:53.160. Clifford came in pretty close behind. Ziege as well. During the practice session, everybody, I think inside the top 20 drivers was within a second of each other. So be good to see how this goes. The end of the practice session got a little bit wet, so a couple of drivers only staying out. Most people abandoned to the pits, didn't want any more wet weather practice. So at the moment, Holm is sticking with it. Everyone seems to be getting through fairly well. Just while we're going through this part of the qualifying, let's have a little look at the championship standings. So at the moment, first place in the championship with a whopping 376 points is Ryan Cooper. He has all but nailed down first place in the championship this time round. Then we've got Nestorov in 2nd place, Kubaki in 3rd, Kondabarov 4th, Kargalu 5th, Jimmy Holm, our man on screen, in 6th place in the championship, Jonathan Clifford 7th, Lejekas 8th, Nashgadashvili in 9th place. He'll be very disappointed with that after his disconnect last time round. And Bouquet in 10th. So that is the top 10 of the championship. And having a little look at those numbers. So Kubaki and Nestorov. Wow, to be fair, Nestorov has really pulled away. 232 points. Massive amount of gap. The real battle is for 3rd place in the championship. We've sort of got 189 points, 168 points, 159 points. So it's all seriously open. Jimmy Hall will be very keen to try and get a pole position here this evening. He hasn't had the best season. Actually ended up missing an entire race, but he has had one podium. So any improvement for... Oh, there we go, Ryan Cooper. Our man in the Bentley, our championship leader, has just taken away pole position. And yes, I did put in the chat a little bit of a tease of things to come for Apex Online Racing in the future. I'm not going to do the official announcement, but I've been given the green light to just sneak a few little things in. All I will say is this is a micro endurance race, but you know, in the past we've done full endurance races. So eyes peeled or ears peeled this evening. I'm trying to drop a few little hints. Won't be able to give you exact times, dates and such, but I can very much sneak a few little things in. So on board with Jonathan Clifford at the moment, 999, none other than the Lamborghinis. I inadvertently put a lot of Lamborghinis on the screen this evening. Looking at this now, basically the entire field outside of the top 23, all within a second of each other. Oh, and there we go. Clifford actually deciding to abandon the lap. Elliot Watts, this is a driver to keep a little bit of an eye on. A driver we haven't seen actually before. This is his first race he is taking part in. But during first practice, he was very high up the order, running in 7th place at the moment. So maybe someone coming in late to show that they've got some amazing pace. Just under 7.5 minutes of qualifying left. And we don't have any qualifying bans this evening, but we do actually have some race bans this evening. Where are we looking? I saw the names earlier on. So this is Stamenkovic, one of the drivers. So yeah, Stamenkovic has 8 license points, so has a race ban, and also Asmi has 8 license points, so a race ban as well. So neither of those drivers will be with us this evening. Or at least they shouldn't be. You never know. Sometimes they sneak in. It does happen from time to time, but obviously not worth their time. So Elliot Watts still currently in 10th place, but he's now on his final run to the line. He is on an improvement. So what are we going to see here? There we go, up into 5th place. Fantastic drive. People on big improvements. Let's try and find one. Bouquet on a big improvement. 0.3 up on the lap time at the moment. 2 corners left to go. Just about 6 minutes of qualifying left. There we go. Up into 3rd place. Really good effort, and that's it. He's pulling in at this point. Buzz off, drive on a really big improvement, actually just going around the final corner, so we're going to get a little bit of a chance to see him across the line. Was in 13th, should see him well up on the grid. There we go, up into 5th, huge jump up the grid. Nashgadashvili was doing absolutely fantastically last week, and then sadly was blighted with a disconnect. I know he has had issues again this evening. During the practice session, he did have a disconnect, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes for him this evening. Very fast driver and has come out of nowhere doing some brilliant stuff this season. He's had a 7th, a 24th, a 4th, and then a DNF. I think the 24th was a bit of a skewballed number. I think realistically this is a driver that we could see inside the top 10 most races. But now final sprint to the line, little improvement coming. So he was in 12th as he comes across the line up into 6th place. It is amazing how small of an improvement can get you so far up the grid. Let's have a little look further down, see if there's anyone on really big improvements. Bogus is on a big improvement. 2.5 seconds up on his best lap time. I think this might actually be essentially his first flyer. We'll stick with him at the moment, as it is very strange to see a GTR still out there on Apex Online Racing. And this is due to the custom BOP that we are running, allowing some of these slightly older, less popular cars to come back. GTRs, Lexus. Absolutely great to see these cars up and battling. So Bogus coming across the line was in 31st. He's going to go rocketing up into 16th place. Great effort for him. He'll be very, very pleased with that. So looking back towards the front, Jimmy Holm has now taken pole position. We saw him do it earlier on. He's now got a 152.6. Elliot Watts currently running in second. And Ryan Cooper currently in third place. Seeing, yes, and Andrex in the chat. Still no Jag or Aston V12s. No, there isn't. I think there's only so much pain some people can take. It wasn't that many seasons ago we did have a Jag. I can't remember which season it was. It was a couple of seasons back now. We had a Jag and it was an absolute monster when it came to Monza. And it would be an absolute monster here as well. I think they were basically running zero wing for the race at Monza, and it just meant they got onto that pit straight and just absolutely unleashed the ponies. Ryan Cooper, we're going to jump on board with him. He's just entering the main straight. And he is up on his lap time, but also someone up on a lap time as well is Daniel Fernandez, kind of a 2:23, just about to come across the line, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here. He was in 8th, and he goes up to 6th place, so a little improvement there. But inside this top 5, we've got Ryan Cooper, who is just about improving. Got Bouquet, who's just about improving, and Meerveld as well. We keep seeing the odd little blip of improvement there, and also Daniel Fernandez still improving as well. So 2 minutes, basically 2 minutes of qualifying left to go. The track is optimum, so it's the perfect conditions for this. Cooper is going to want to... Oh my god, Cooper somewhere has just found nearly half a second. Surely that is an invalidated lap. Where on earth did he just find half a second? No way. If this goes pole, that is ridiculous. That is absolutely huge. He found half a second from somewhere. This will be his final chance to do any kind of improving, even if he wants to. Fernandez is just rounding turn 8. Just having a little look where Buzzoff is. Kind of a 95. I think he is just about to come through the final turns. Going to jump on board with Buzzoff, who actually has lost time now. He was up on his times, and that's gone. Someone on a big improvement, though, Robert Arlavi. Coming through the final sector. At KW ADL, or ADI. 189 BMW. The multiple shades of blue. Still up on his lap time. Should be a decent improvement here. Was 14th. Now he is 8th. Inside the top 10. Kondoborov as well. Another driver on a massive improvement. And he's just rounded the final corner. Final stretch to the line. 0.3 up on his lap time. Should see him get well inside the top 5, I would think. Up in the 3rd place. Fantastic effort. Ryan Cooper is somehow still improving on his lap times. He is now 0.2 up as he's going through turns 9 and 10. Absolutely ridiculous. Don't know where on earth he's finding this sudden burst of extra speed. Daniel Tadish as well. Big improvements for that driver. I think they've just gone flying up. Where is Tadish? There they are, just coming through the final corner, stretch to the line. They're 2 seconds up on their lap time. This should be a nice jump up the order. and it must have been invalidated. What a shame. That would have been a massive, massive jump. Jumping on board, Renoir, currently running in 12th place. That is the end of qualifying, by the way. So anyone out on a lap can finish, but no one can start any more laps now. It's not looking like anyone's really on any kind of improvements. Bogus, who's running in 7th. 7:05. He's on the back straight. He is technically up on his time. Jimmy Holm is up on his time. This is one to keep an eye on. He's coming through the final sector now. He is up on his lap times, but only by 0.1. There's no way he can take pole position away. Ryan Cooper with a 1:52.237. That is an absolutely diabolically fast lap time. Jumping back on board with someone here. Bogus, currently running in 8th place in that Nissan GTR and abandons the lap. Anyone out there still on big improvements? Nashidashvili is still pushing hard. We're going to jump on board with him. Running in 11th place, obviously looking to try and get himself inside the top 10. He's 0.2 up on his lap time. He should definitely at least gain a position or two. This could see him inside the top 5. He can hold on to it. A massive improvement, nearly 0.3. What are we going to see? He is in 11th as he sprints to the line. He's basically going to be the last car. Gets himself up into 3rd place. 2nd row on the grid. Absolutely fantastic effort. Bjorkvist as well, running to the line. Was in 14th place. Gets himself up inside the top 10. Absolutely gargantuan effort. Amazing effort from those drivers. Everyone can just have a little breathe. Just a small breathe for a moment. And then we'll get ready to move over. Just seeing in the chat there, it is the Ryan Cooper show. Yeah, it pretty much has been this season. There's no point denying it. Ryan Cooper has been pretty much unstoppable. He's becoming the Luke Whitehead of Tier 2 at this point. It is he's fairly unstoppable. So at the moment, it's looking like the first 30 minutes of the race are going to be dry. So that is a big old bonus for these guys. At least get a little bit of time to get the tyres up to temp and get themselves going. But it is changeable weather. As Undrex UK is saying, yeah, it's going to get risky if it gets wet. Yeah, we saw quite a few different strategies and people's plans going awry last night. But let's have a little run through the grid. Let's jump on board. So, first place on the grid is Ryan Cooper, our championship leader. Jimmy Holm running in 2nd place. Naskadashvili in 3rd place. Kondoborov in 4th. Daniel Fernandez in 5th. Elliot Watts, this is his first appearance here in Tier 2, so it'll be interesting to see how that driver gets on this evening. Very good qualifying from the newcomer. Dennis Bjorkvist in 7th. Bouquet in 8th. Buzov in 9th. Bogus in 10th. And that continues onwards. Now, 11th place, fan favourite from a few seasons ago, Vince van Meerveld. 12th place, Robert R. Larvey. Jonathan Clifford, 13th place in that 999 car. Benjamin King, 14th place. Saniel Tadic in 15th place. Chris Vining in 16th place. Mr. Jones, 17th place. Brenoir in 18th place. 19th place is Schweitzeski. And Vajonovic in 20th place. Right, continuing on. Kuchowski, 21st place. Delebra in 22nd. Nestorov, 23rd. Sumaran in 24th place, Lucas Ziege in 25th, Kaz Lucas 26th, Ulovic 27th, Igor Kristinic down in 28th place, Davey Hill 29th, Orin Meegans 30th place, Ten Brinker 31st, and rounding out the grid, Walter Billen in 32nd place in that multiple shades of purple McLaren. Absolutely stunning looking liveries here again this evening. Absolutely fantastic to see. Going to be interesting to see what the weather does and what that does to people's plans this evening when it comes to pit stops. As I say, obviously got Ryan Cooper starting from pole position. That is the place you want to be starting from. And he'll want to be pushing forward as much as possible and trying to get away from Jimmy Holm, but he has got an absolute flood of high-quality cars right behind him. Holm, Nashkadashvili, Kondabara, Fernandez, the newcomer Elliott Watts. We've seen what he can do in qualifying. What is his racecraft like? Is he going to be as fast in the race as he is in qualifying? So, just about a minute left before we actually get down to the circuit. Get an idea of just how big the grid is as well when you sort of do these large over-the-top shots. There you go. You can see the entire grid. Just seeing there in the chat, Ryan Cooper equals Jamie Nuttall. Yeah, but to be fair, Ryan Cooper has showed up for more races than Nuttall. Very fast driver who was here in Tier 2 for a little while. Actually covered him a little bit in the iRacing series as well that Apex Online Racing does. That was a couple of seasons back now. Did a little bit of coverage of that for the, I think it was the F4 series. And again, very, very fast driver. Right. Outlap is about to begin. The final countdown. People dropping down, getting the cars on the floor, ready to rock and roll. So this is 1 hour and 30 minutes of this micro endurance event. We do 2 of these during the Sprint Cup series just to break things up a little bit. Obviously being GT3 we do a rolling start, so this is the Outlap. People get a chance to put their tyres together. Just over, I think it's just over 5 kilometres or 5.5 kilometres. 5.7, sorry, yeah, 5.7 miles this circuit. So it's a big old circuit. Obviously you get to do an outlap. I think the only place realistically we have a, you know, a slightly longer chance is probably somewhere like Nordschleife. But that's not here quite yet. But it is coming a little bit later. Hints. We say these are the micro endurance series. We have done a few seasons now of full length endurance racing and seasons. So keep a little bit of an eye on the old, keep a bit of an eye on the socials for Apex Online Racing. Get yourself in the Discord. Make sure you know what's going on sooner than everyone else. That's all I can say at the moment. I did say it would just be a tease as opposed to an announcement, but there we go. That's, you know. Things are in the works. Let's have a little bit of a look at these cars as they go down through. The 2 cars clipping together at the moment. As the slight joy of ACC is that on the outlap you don't have to worry. You can essentially just clip through each other. But there's a lot of room. So I think these 2 are just kind of playing with each other. Jimmy Holm and Ryan Cooper. 2 fairly vocal drivers in the drivers' Discord for Tier 2, which I have the pleasure of being in as well to keep an eye on everything. This will be the only time you'll be seeing cars coming down here without their foot absolutely nailed to the board. Everyone will be desperately trying to get as much temperature into their tyres and brakes as possible. Oh, God. Andrex has guessed it. Yeah, it's a V12 versus Jag Championship. Yeah, that is exactly what it is. There's always one genius that's got to ruin it for everyone, haven't they? Like, it's the whole reason, you know, we're not seeing them here is, you know, we've been keeping them aside. Right. Coming into Sector 3 now. Again, this is that outlap. Bit of a chance for people to get warmth in the tyres. No one's been swerving vastly. I think it's going to be a lot more of a case of people driving with their foot on the brake. Just try and build some temperature up. And as you can see, actually, that is exactly what Cooper's been doing. A few corners left to go. You can see all the way down that back straight, you could see the back end of that Bentley was lit up, and I wasn't entirely sure if it was the brake lights or whether it was just a case of the sunlight. But no, 100%, that was Ryan Cooper on the brakes the entire time, trying to get some heat soak into those big wheels, out into the tyres. Obviously, you want the tyres and the brakes up to temperature if you can. Always very difficult to get a decent amount of temperature in the tyres before the race begins. Obviously, when they come off the jacks and they drop down, the tyres are up to temp. But, right. Final run to the line. The cars are stacking up side by side for the rolling start. Just waiting on the green light. Jimmy Holm as close to the side of Cooper as he possibly can. He's trying to get a little bit of an overlap. Who's going to get the better start? Waiting for that green light. The light goes green. Nashkadashvili seems to have a fairly decent start. Looking like in the back as well. Bouquet having a nice little start. Trying to go up the inside of Elliot Watts. We'll stick on the helicam for just a minute. Cooper hangs on to it at the moment. Hopefully we get through lap 1 without too many issues. Elliot White gets the position back, is pushing forward, keeping a little bit of an eye on our leaders, and also got a little bit of a squabble going on the back there for 4th place. That's Daniel Fernandez versus Kondoborov, and he can't get it done. He has to back down. So far, so good though. Turn 8 is going to be the one to really keep an eye on as the cars come piling through. Still think we've managed to get so far through without any incidents that I can see. Here, in a little bit of free space. Oh, car number 12. We saw car number 12. And that is Brenoir. We'll jump back 10 seconds to see if we can catch it. Oh, we didn't quite catch it, but didn't want to go back too far as it is the beginning of the race and everything is kicking off still. We'll quickly jump to our leaders through turn 8. Ryan Cooper still hanging on to it. Nashkadashvili has got past on the back straight. So Nashkadashvili, we knew he'd be a little bit of a dark horse here in that BTL Racing McLaren. And to be fair play, the McLaren has not been the car of choice this season. But Nashkadashvili is really coming in and showing his stuff. And Ryan Cooper, we've seen him before be under pressure from Nashkadashvili, and we've seen him be under pressure from Holm before. So it'll be interesting to see if these drivers can take it all the way. A little bit further back, bit of a squabble going on here. We've got a Benjamin King being chased down by Kaczewski, Schweicheski, Delibra, and Nestorov. Lots and lots of cars side by side, a little bit further back. A little bit of rubbing. But so far, nothing out of the ordinary. Lucas Ziege as well, having a really good first lap. The 23rd place. And so the only car that we saw that did drop back slightly was that Brenoir, Oliver Brenoir, who went off on lap 1. Sadly, we didn't quite catch that incident, so I'm not sure if it was self-inflicted or whether he got caught up in something else. Tadic having a little bit of a battle now with Chris Vining. Vining getting it done. Goes on through on Tadic. Now Tadic's got Mr. Jones coming up behind him. The only upside to this is Tadic is going to be able to jump in right behind thundering Mercedes of Vining and hopefully get a little bit of a toe up the back straight, but as well you can see Mr. Jones is really pushing forward. He's going to be able to close up on the back of the Ferrari, and he does. He goes to the inside, and to be fair, it's nearly 3 wide down towards turn 8. Surely someone's going to bail out. Jones does bail out and now sticks to the inside just behind Tadic. Just about holds on to it. I think he might be able to have an opportunity to take the both of them now though. Does get past Vining. Tadic made the best of that. Got in the toe at just the right time, and Vining actually has lost another position, possibly. No, he hasn't. He has managed to hold onto it for the moment. Right, jumping back up to the very front for just a second. So at the moment, Ryan Cooper is in front, and he's holding on to pole position. Nashkadashvili in second. Then it is Jimmy Holm. Kondoborov is 4th. We've got a bit of a squabble going on here between Fernandez and Watts. Watts seems to have a little bit of a run. Can he do anything down to turn 1? I don't think he's going to be quite close enough to make a move. Not quite yet. Just about 4 minutes of the race done, and it's already popping off. Ryan Cooper has now set the fastest lap of the race, obviously showing what he can do. He's got no one in front of him. He's not in traffic. He's just trying to pull away. I think he's opened up just enough lead from Nashkadashvili that he does not have to defend. And that is really starting to show in the pace. So this squabble going on now. Fernandez, Watts and Bouquet. We've also got Bjorkvist coming at the back of them. When was the last time you saw BMW versus Ferrari versus Porsche versus Nissan GTR? Well, probably last Tuesday, to be brutally honest, but absolutely fantastic to see. Jump on board Bouquet. Jump on board in the car, absolutely screaming Porsche down towards turn 8. Can he do anything here? He's having a little look to the inside. He does look to the inside, can't do it under braking, decides to dip back out of it. Running it all the way to the outside, just about holds on to it for now. Inside the top 10, but not quite able to get himself any further ahead. Elliott Watts still having a little bit of a look. The more he attacks, though, the more he leaves himself open to attack from Bouquet. It is now looking like, as well, actually Kondoborov is starting to fall back into the grasp of Fernandez. Jump up on board to the helicam, get a bit of a view from above, getting a bit of an idea here of what is happening. And it does look like Kondoborov early in the race is becoming a little bit of a cork in the bottle. Jimmy Holm has now set the fastest lap of the race, and that is a whole 100th of a second faster. There we go, Fernandez trying to go around the outside. Can he do anything here? It's going to be very, very close. He's now got the inside, and he has got the run, the Ferrari, out on the painted curb. I mean, the risk of picking up a penalty was probably quite high there. Elliott Watts gets a little bit of a look on the inside. There's a slight bit of contact between Watson Fernandez there, getting side by side. Bouquet as well, having to fight for his position. It's all getting very heated. And it's looking like Buzov has joined this battle. Is now trying to get involved. These guys are slowing themselves down significantly. They were really pushing forward, and now they've got themselves a little bit of a squabble. Elliott Watts now looking to the right-hand side, going to try and get an overlap on Fernandez. The Porsche is doing all the way around the outside. He's doing a Kevin Estre. He was 2 wheels off the track trying to get the overtake done. He's going to try and go around the outside at turn 8. It's a huge, risky move. He does, one of the Ferraris in the background going way too wide. And they're still side by side. Elliott Watts squabbling at the back of them, desperate to try and take advantage of these two. He's just not been able to. Bouquet putting on an absolutely fantastic display. And to his credit as well, Fernandez giving the racing room. He didn't push or pinch Bouquet out the way. But what an absolutely fantastic little bit of racing we're being treated to at the moment. Fernandez, now he's squabbling. He is starting to become a cork in the bottle himself. That has allowed Kondoborov to just break away a little bit. There we go, look. Elliott looking to the outside. Watts is still definitely on the attack. Bouquet is now being hunted down. That rear bumper being nipped away by the Ferrari. Can we do anything here as they come in? This pack has really started to break away. I think it is Bogus at the back of this pack. This little pack is sort of running on their own. It's at this mid-pack at the moment. Lovely shots as they all come firing down the circuit. This is down into turn 5 and 6. Super close. And look, you can see that gap breaking away. The only driver that really seems to have any kind of free running is Kondoborov. Brian Cooper has broken away with about a second lead. He is also now holding on to the fastest lap of the race again. But it is incredibly close. The lap times between the top 3 drivers, all of them within the 153.1s. There is basically nothing between them. It's going to be a case of if anyone makes a mistake. But I think Jimmy Holm is on the attack of Nashkadashvili. We're going to jump on board with them, hopefully. As they come through turn 8. It was super, super close towards the end of the back straight. And I think Jimmy Holm is close enough to be in that tow, but it's going to be a real challenge to try and get himself actually up and past Nashkadashvili. He's not a driver that's going to give up easy. You can see he's giving it absolutely everything to stay on the back of Cooper. Two very similar cars, to be fair, the McLaren and the Lamborghini. both mid-engines, both very, very low, squat to the floor cars. You look in comparison to some of the vehicles out there, like the Bentley. Oh, a bit of a flash of the lights there from home, as if to say, come on, mate, I'm quicker than you, let me through. But Nashkadashvili will not be giving up the place easily. He will want to hang on to it for as long as possible. We're going to keep an eye on this one for a little bit longer. They would do well to not fight too hard, to be fair. The more they fight, the slower they'll be, and that is going to allow Cooper to get away. And at the moment, they are slowly bringing that gap back down. It's still less than a second. It'll be interesting to see how far they can go. 10 minutes of the race done now. Jumping back to a little squabble going on here. That is Buzzoff versus Clifford. Buzzoff in front of Clifford as they go down the back straight. He's in the wrong place for the toe though, but he is sticking all the way to the right hand side. He'll have the inside for turn 8. I doubt he's going to be able to get more of a run. He is still just about holding on to the inside. And as well, Arlavi trying to go around the outside, and he does. He loses the position and is very much compromised going into turn 8. He had the nose cut off him. Oh, a little bit of a rub there with Arlavi. Not a big rub, but it was a slight rub, and he goes very deep into turn 9, into 10, and that has lost him the position, and now Bogus on the attack. Oh, who have we got off? We had a 5-2 something off there. We had one of the cars off. Let's see if we can catch it. It was so brief on the screen that I'm not going to confidently go back to keep an eye on any of that one. I'm afraid we'll have to leave that one in the dust, as it were. But we had one of the cars go off. I'm sure it would have been Chris Vining, to be fair. We'll go about 30 seconds, see if we can catch it. Oh, there he is, and there was someone else involved there as well. Oh, but the front of Chris Vining's car is now carrying a significant amount of damage. And actually, there we go. There's one of the... it looked like... I've forgotten his name, but yes, that is possibly. I'll have to have a little bit of a look through the old list and see if we can find them. I'm sure that was. I'm pretty sure that was Gaston Delebra. Yes, it was. In that 420 Lamborghini. So the battle for 5th place continues on. These two guys have just broken away a little bit. Bouquet has finally managed to get away from Watts. Oh, Kuchowski picks himself up a drive-through penalty. Being told that, yeah, the squabble is still going on between Nashkadashvili and Holm. Oh, it's Carglue in the chat. Good evening, Carglue. That squabble going on, but I think it's kind of where it is at the moment. Oh, massive slide there we saw from Fernandez. Bouquet goes through. We're going to jump back 30 seconds. This is back down towards turn 8, so hammering it down towards the turn at the end of the back straight. You can see that Bouquet has the overlap, but as soon as he comes out of the toe, loses all that extra momentum that he had. He does manage to get across and shut the door and go through on turn 8. As they come down towards turn 9, what happens here with Fernandez? I think in the back of the shot you see he's just carrying a little bit too much speed, gets a little bit of a slide, and that loses a lot more pace. So Bouquet does get to go through and is now fully pushing forward on the attack. He is going after the back of Kondoborov. Currently, it's still stating, weather-wise, that it's going to be dry for the next 30 minutes. When 15 minutes of the race are done, that might change, though. That is where, usually sort of 15 to 10-minute increments, is where we really see weather changing. At the moment, it appears to be staying dry. Car number 47, serving the drive-through penalty, I'm pretty sure. If I'm not mistaken, that is, yeah, it's Kuchowski who had a drive-through penalty, but he appears to have stopped in the pit, so that might not clear his drive-through. Oh, I think he's actually left. Okay, so retired from the race for that one. We'll jump back into a bit of a mid-pack battle. We've got Benjamin King, Kaz Lucas, Tadic, Nestorov and Jones. These guys are having a nice little squad ball. Oh, hang on, here we go. Now the battle's going on. Look how quickly Bouquet has caught up with the back of Kondabarov. Absolutely astounding little bit of racing. Nashkashvili is also under serious attack as well. We're jumping on board for this in the battle for second place. Jimmy Holm and Nashkashvili. So these two drivers traded places early on in the race. And, oh, not sure what happened there, but as of yet, Nashkashvili hasn't given up the position. He's managed to get himself up into second place and has held on to it pretty well. Jimmy Holm will be looking to take advantage though. Can he possibly get past? Looking a little bit further back, Bouquet and Kondabarov. This is the battle for fourth place. I really think if Kondabarov gets overtaken by Bouquet, then the Bouquet is going to really be able to push forward and might be able to catch up with our battle for third place. He looks to the inside on turn one, nearly gets the nose taken off him. Kondabarov giving as little room as legally possible, I think, there. Again, Bouquet has another look. He now goes up the inside under braking, brakes super late. He can't quite do it though. He's out-braked by the Ferrari. But he is catching up with him, and now Fernandez is starting to catch up as well. That is not what Kondabarov is going to want. We'll sort of flick between this second battle and third place battle. Sorry, fourth place battle. Down the back straight, on board with Holm and Nashkashvili at the moment. You can see in the back of the shot, you can see as well, Nashkashvili moving off the main racing line, going defensive, moves to the inside. Kondabarov as well, looks like he's got the inside line. Nashkashvili does hold on to it, down towards this turn 8 though. Looking like Bouquet has got through. If he can hold on to it, he does just about keep it within track limits as well. And there we go. Bouquet through. He is up into fourth place. Can he push forward and catch up with the back of Holm and Nashkashvili? It's been unbelievably good going by Bouquet. I think he's probably got the pace to try and get himself up there. We're jumping back on board now with Nashkashvili versus Holm. Battle for second place, car number 728 and the 777 car, the homing missile. He has firmly got his sights on the back of Nashkashvili. 100% concentration, 100% effort on the back of that car. Down towards turn one, they both swing the car in. Again, they're quite similar cars. There's not an obvious place where they're going to be able to take advantage. It's not like the Bentley where you've got thunderous amounts of speed down the straights. Which realistically is how Cooper is getting away. Now that he's broken himself away and he's not having to defend or squabble or go off the optimum line, he can just put in those fast laps. He's all on his own, going through the corners. He can get over the fact that Bentley isn't the best in the twisties, purely because he doesn't have anything to fight with. He is on his own. Again, another squabble going down the back straight. What are we going to see here? Can Nashkashvili do anything? The gap is so close. He goes super defensive. He goes all the way over to the right-hand side. Jimmy Holm again trying to sneak around the outside, but as soon as he comes out of the toe, he just doesn't have the legs to keep going. And they immediately go for it. Jimmy Holm looking to maybe get a bit of a switch back here. Oh, there's a big bump, and it sends Jimmy Holm well out wide. That is definitely going to be a track infringement there that's being put through for Holm. And you only get 3 of them before the game puts a penalty in place for you. Oh, Elliot Watts as well, having a really good squabble, I think. Oh, according to the timing board, he was incredibly close. I think that's just on the back straight. Those cars all got incredibly close. In fact, now he got past Fernandez at some point, so he has made it past Fernandez. Elliot Watts currently running in 7th place. Again, this is his first time racing here in Tier 2 this evening. Well, at least this season. I will have to look back and see if there is anything anywhere to suggest he's been with us before. Looking back up to this battle at the front. Bouquet, car number 84, hasn't... Well, he's doing a decent job of breaking away. Nashkashvili has been defending pretty hard down the back straight. It's going to be a case of how long can he do that for. Is he going to be able to hold on to it this entire time? Still got an hour and 10 minutes of the race left to go. He's going to have to be the widest car in the world. At the moment, it looks like it's all going to come down to pace, as the weather so far is saying dry. Although, there we go, a little bit of a power slide we saw there from Jimmy Holm. Just unsettling the car a little bit, and that gap does open up. This might be the only time down the back straight where Nashvili isn't already absolutely being attacked. Nashvili is sticking to that racing line. He's all the way to the left-hand side, as you would normally see. He does move a little bit towards the centre of the track. This has definitely been more of a hot lap. Oh, and he does just clip the track limit warnings. He was so desperate to push and try and get away a little bit that it might have undone him, and he's got that one. He's definitely got one there. Ah, yes, car number 84, and that is Matthew Bouquet, absolutely flying. Yes, indeed he is. He has made his way up through the order, had a really good start. While lots of people were squabbling, Watts, Fernandez and Bjorkqvist, Clifford, they were all having quite a squabble. He managed to make his way through that and then managed to get past Kondoborov very, very quickly. So at the moment, looking at their lap times, as it comes across the line, we'll get an extra nice, fresh, brand new lap time to keep a lookout on. Bouquet is currently outlapping Nashvili and Holm. Still not outlapping Ryan Cooper. Ryan Cooper's still putting in absolutely fantastic lap times at the moment. Kind of at that point where the tyres are going to be losing that sort of their most sticky moments, but they are going to be, the car's going to be getting lighter and lighter due to the fuel burn. So just in this little moment here at the moment where you might see a little bit of a dip in lap time, so you might start to lose just a smidgen of time, and then it should come back. But going a little bit further back, this is the battle for 14th place. As Lucas versus King versus Nestorov. The Lexus went very, very well here last night in the wet. That was George Boothby piloting that one last night. I don't think there's many cars that boy can't get to go fast, but it certainly looked like a decent car there. Look, I've just noticed that everyone is off the racing line, all the way over to the right-hand side. But it's quite amusing that everyone goes there to avoid the draft, but because everyone goes there to avoid the draft, they end up being in the draft. Benjamin King definitely clipped the boards there. That's going to be another load of track limit warnings for him. He's pushing, pushing, pushing. Not sure he's going to be able to make it past, though. Oh, Nashvili has been overtaken, and we missed that, and I'm gutted that we missed it. And I think it must have happened down towards the back of the pit straight, and at the back straight. Absolutely kicking myself that we missed that one. Absolutely typical. As soon as you move away from a battle, another one ensues. So this is further down. This is Fernandez versus Bjorkqvist. Bjorkqvist has got past, which is still actually on the replay part. Just waiting for the timing screens to catch back up again. Mirville goes up the inside there of Jonathan Clifford. Oh, I remember the days when it was a fan favourite, Van Mirville. The chat used to go wild for that driver. Jimmy Holm has now broken away. So let's have a quick jump on with our leader, and you can see just how far Ryan Cooper has broken away. It's definitely got to be a case of running absolutely no wing on that car, surely. Jimmy Holm running in second place. Nashvili now down to third. Still a really good finish if he can hang on to third place. But he has the absolutely charging Matthew Bouquet behind him in that Grello Porsche, the number 84 car, who has absolutely been flying. Cannot believe how quickly that car's been shifting. So putting in some strong old times at the moment. 1:53.9 last time round. He was a little bit down on his lap time, but not too bad. Right, dropping a little bit further back. Kondabarov versus Watts. This continues to squabble on. Ferrari versus Ferrari. We've also got Meerveld, Arlabi and Buzov. These three cars fairly tightly packed together. Kazlukas not far off the back of them either. To be fair, Clifford as well in front of them. There's beginning to be a little bit of a train going on through here. So we'll jump back a little bit further, see if we've got anyone else really having a battle. Chris Vining carrying that damage at the front, currently holding on to 29th position. That front end damage will not be helping that Mercedes. We saw it was earlier on. I think that was with Gaston Deleubre. There was a bit of an incident. I think it was possibly down at turn 8. Again, one of those corners where everything can just go a little bit wrong, and it happens very, very quickly. Back with Meerveld, who is being chased down now. Arlabi not able to do it. It was very, very close towards the end of it, though. And but Arlabi actually clatters the boards. Again, you've got to be super careful. You only get 3 track limit infringements, and then the game immediately gives you a drive-through penalty. It's not the longest pit in the world here, but it is long enough. It's about a third of a lap you lose. If you can avoid it, it definitely is one to go for. We saw some big, big names last night lose a lot of positions, going from inside the top 5 all the way down into like sort of towards the bottom top 20. So it's not what you want. A couple of fantastic recovery drives we might get to see this evening of people trying to bring it back. Moment, this little train of cars just settling into the battle, just that little bit. A little bit further up, we've got Elliot Watts versus Kondabarov. Bouquet is definitely on the charge. Looking at his lap times, he's the better part of a second quicker than Nashvili lap after lap. So that is going to be something to keep an eye on the old timing boards. In fact, we are going to jump on board now and get an idea of how close he is on the back straight. There we go, you can see it. You'll be able to smell the exhaust coming off the back of Nashvili's. Absolutely screaming down the back straight. Oh, car number 22. We just saw car number 22 with a yellow flag. And come on screen. Oh, that is a... Now let's try and jump back, see what happens here. So that's car number 22. What is this? This looks like turn 4. And... oh, bit of a tap on the exit. I think it was kind of a 12 that collected him. Renoir, he did try and avoid the incident. He did turn away from it, but just wasn't able to as soon as he started to get that car rotated. So yeah, a little bit of the slightest touch, but in the worst place possible for it, and it did just end up rotating the car. Nashvili is now absolutely under attack from Bouquet. A man possessed this evening. Bouquet is looking to the outside on turn 1. Surely he can't go around the outside there. Going to maybe try for a bit of a switchback. Not able to, and does end up losing a little bit of ground. Nicely driven though by Nashvili, just covering off the right places. Just coming up on the 1 hour mark now. So that is about a third of the race complete. Nashvili, who qualified in 3rd place, is now being absolutely hounded by Bouquet. again, they're going onto this back straight. I think there's enough of a gap opened up that Nashville should be reasonably safe at the moment. Holm got himself into some clear air. And Holm is in that awkward spot where he is outlapping Nashville, but he is not outlapping Cooper. So essentially he's just getting deeper and deeper into no man's land. Second place, he's not going to sniff at that. He will not be upset about it. But it can make for a bit of a boring 1 hour if you're there and you're just sort of hot lapping the entire time. So it depends what you're here for. If you're just here to try and get points in the championship, perfect. If you're here for some tight wheel-to-wheel racing, might be a little bit boring for them. Plenty of stuff going on here from Sector 3. We've still got Bouquet right on the back of Nashville. It's only going to take the smallest of mistakes. And car number 84 of Bouquet will be able to take advantage. They're coming into the final turn now. Is Bouquet trying to line up another move down into turn 1? I think he had a slightly better run through the final corner. Although Nashville, who had the faster lap that time round. Technically, it was Nashville that time round. So, oh, big dive to the inside. I think he gets his brakes wrong, though. How on earth he tried to go down the inside there? I am not entirely sure. We're going to go back 30 seconds on that one, and we're going to watch it from the helicam. Good Lord, that was so close to a mistake. So, up now on the helicam. So, he's quite a long way back. I'm not entirely sure if maybe Bouquet just got a little bit unsettled. What happened there? I mean, it was always going to be a monstrous dive if he was going to try and take it. I think he just outbraked himself and he manages to avoid the incident. Fair play. Doesn't really gain any time and dips back in behind. So because he slowed down so much, he might not even get a track limits offence for that one because he slowed down so much it wouldn't have been an advantage gained. Elliot Watts still having a lovely squabble with Bjorkvist. So, still pushing forward, see what he can do here. Oh, and Watts picks up the drive-through penalty, and that is absolutely killer. So, this driver, new to us here this evening, this season, very, very fast in qualifying, has had great pace, but sadly has now picked up a drive-through penalty. He's got about 3 laps to serve that. And after that, penalties will come his way. Back up to Bouquet, who is now sort of recovering from that bit of a whoopsie about a lap ago. For some reason, his wiper was on for a brief moment then. Whether or not that's the case if he accidentally pressed it. But his wiper was on. There's definitely no rain in the air. Still saying it's dry at the moment. But let's have a look and see if we can get that over the rear wing shot that I love so much. That is the splitter. That's the one I want. Over the rear wing of Nashville. Swinging their way through turns 4 and 5. Really closing up through 5 there. Both of them short shifting, trying to get the run. Nashville really trying to see what kind of run he can get. Oh, that looked like a really strong run from Bouquet there. And as you can see, as that gap gets smaller and smaller, he is starting to catch up with him. They're about halfway down the back straight. Nashville has gone all the way over to the right-hand side to go defensive. Bouquet doesn't have to do a Kevin Estre this time. He's side by side. Can he do anything? He's going with the outside for turn 8. Surely he can't hang on to it around the outside. He's going to have to relinquish the position. Yes, he is. But that Porsche looking super pointy. Are we going to see a big brave dive under braking? No, we're not. Decides not to. I mean, he had a go at that a few laps ago and it nearly went very, very wrong. But at the moment, I think driver of the day is going to Bouquet because he is absolutely flying. Someone get Bouquet a bouquet of flowers. He is absolutely going for it. A little bit of a look further down the grid, seeing if we've got any tighter battles going off. I really think this is the main one. Bjorkvist having a decent squabble as well. He's got Kondoborov right on the back of him. And in fact, there might be a little change. We're going to jump back here because this is where we saw a move only a lap or two ago. Nashgadashvili with Bouquet. Bouquet does look to the inside under brakes. What can he do? Nothing this time. Looks like Nashgadashvili just has a stronger run through turns 1 and 2. It just appears that that little bit of the circuit, he can just carry a little bit more speed than the 84 car. Again, continuing to push on Bjorkqvist and Kondoborov as well behind, having a nice little squabble. We've also got Jonathan Clifford involved in this one. It's a little bit further back as well. You've got Fernandez versus Arlavi versus Buzzoff. We're going to jump back up to this battle for third place. Nashgadashvili really under attack this time. Bouquet looks like he's going to the outside once again. It looks like he got there a little bit earlier this time. He still hasn't quite managed to sneak in front. He can't do it. Has to dip back in behind again. But he is going to have a nice run down towards turn 9. Can he do anything under braking? He does look to the inside, but no space for him there. And Nashgadashvili got as late on the brakes as he possibly could to try and maintain the position. We're seeing another fantastic drive from Nashgadashvili and possibly one of the best drives we've ever seen from Bouquet. This is absolutely fantastic stuff to watch. Just the small little looks to the inside that you're getting, just trying to unsettle Nashgadashvili. And to be fair, he is not braking. He is keeping his eyes on everything. Robert Arlavi, as we've just seen, has got past Fernandez, so that is an improvement for him there. Jumping back this third place battle. Almost forgetting that Ryan Cooper and Jimmy Holm are even in this race anymore because those two have checked out. Benjamin King comes into the pits. A little check-in with our leader, Ryan Cooper. So currently putting in 154.04, so nearly a flat 154. So still very good times. Nashgadashvili and Bouquet are slowing each other down significantly. Nashgadashvili going for a different tactic this time. He's over to the left-hand side of the circuit, the more traditional racing line. With Bouquet, this might be his only opportunity to maybe go to the inside. He is getting a bit of a run, but he's going to run out of circuit before he can do it. It's not really the kind of place you can make a big lunge on the brakes. He does look to the inside, but moves back onto the racing line, decides against it, and just about holds on. Fernandez on the back of Buzzoff. It might actually be Buzzoff pushing through on Fernandez that we just saw. Lap time suggested those two were very, very close together. Back to this lead, third place battle. I keep saying lead battle, it's stuck in my brain. These two drivers putting on an absolutely epic show for everyone at home this evening. Just coming up to 7:45 in game. Might start to see the track temps dipping off a little bit. Currently it's still being dry. A couple of drivers coming into the pits now. Nesterov and Jones into the pits. Oh, look how close Bjorkqvist has got this time. Bjorkqvist, what about Bouquet? Look how close he's got this time. Right on the back. Actually, yeah, Bjorkqvist running in 5th place. That's where my brain suddenly got confused there. Is that Bjorkqvist has made his way up into 4th place. Great to see. Nashgadashvili again now under attack from Bouquet. Side by side once again down the back straight. It does seem to be that just every time Bouquet comes out to try and make the pass, where he's out of the toe, the Porsche just doesn't have the legs compared to the McLaren down the back straight. But these two are really starting to hold each other up. They are significantly slower than they have been before. And that does mean that Bjorkqvist might be on the back of them. We might be about to see a GTR joining the battle for third place. Then we saw Nashvili with a little bit of a power slide there. I think he is giving it his absolute all. To be fair, Bouquet as well, we've seen a reasonably clean drive from him, no real mistakes. But I think there we go, diving into the final turn, and he does go up the inside. Nashvili was spooked by it and ends up going into the pits now. Don't think he was expecting to see that dive up the inside, but Bouquet gets the position on the road, and then Nashvili jumps into the pits. Maybe he realised that they were slowing each other down. But for the first time, Bouquet has got himself up onto a podium position. It was a decent move there. I really don't think Nashvili saw it coming. I think he might have been concentrating on coming into the pits himself and wasn't expecting to suddenly see a Porsche dive up the inside, but it was nicely done. Nashvili did react with quite a decent avoidance, but I don't think they would have contacted anyway. There we go. Bouquet is now finally in a little bit of free running and is now going to need to try and run away from Bjorkqvist, who has caught up pretty convincingly to the back of these guys. Has Lucas in the pit still as well. We jump back, we've got Igor Pristinic, final 4. Currently running in 16th place, now being chased down by the recovering Watts, who obviously had that drive-through penalty earlier on. So Watts a little bit out of position, so should be able to make his way up through these drivers, but he is going to have to pit alongside all of them. Minutes left of the race now. So jumping back, we've got Nesterov, who's currently running in 29th place. We saw him just coming past Lexus. I think that was Kaz Lucas. Have to wait for the timing board to sort his life out on that one. Nashvili is now showing up in 25th place due to his pit stop. He was quite an early pit compared to everyone else. He is in a fairly decent amount of clean air though, so he should be able to put in some real pace. And we'll see what sort of lap times he's doing in, but he is going to be the driver to keep a little bit of an eye on to see what happens with people's times. Kondaborov is now starting to close up on the back of Bjorkqvist again. He's also got Jonathan Clifford right behind him, and Veerveld not far behind either. Second. Bouquet has come into the pits. Bouquet has pitted. So he is going to be the driver to keep an eye on as to where Nashvili comes. He is still on his outlap in Sector 3 at the moment. So I think these two drivers basically push themselves as far as they could possibly go. I mean, I'm surprised that he has reacted in such a way and has immediately jumped into the pits. I thought he might have tried to stay out a little bit longer, maybe trying to push a bit further on the tyres. Bouquet is moving, but I think he's going to lose the position. Oh, maybe not. He might be able to hold on to it. He's going to have to go super defensive immediately, but just about holds on to the position. So Bouquet currently running in 24th place in front of Nashvili. Done an absolutely fantastic job of that. Just trying to see where Robert Arlavi is. Robert Arlavi. I have no idea how he has done that. Oh, there we go. It has now dropped back. The timing board was suggesting that he somehow managed to gain a huge advantage and get past everyone. But here we go. The Bouquet versus Nashvili battle is immediately on. Nashvili obviously has slightly warmer tyres. He's already done one lap more. But Bouquet coming out the gates absolutely swinging and going like he is flat out. Moves back onto the racing line. I have to be a little bit careful with his with his weaving. I know you are allowed to weave as long as it is not considered excessive or dangerous. Well, Nashkadashvili trying to make the most of those slightly warmer tyres was really on the attack into turn 9. Couldn't quite do anything with that extra bit of pace that he had there, though. Ended up going in a little bit deep. Oh, but there's a mistake. There is a mistake from Bouquet. Goes super deep, and he is now under attack again from Nashkadashvili. Nashkadashvili going to try and maybe go to the inside. No, he can't. It's being covered off fairly convincingly there. I think Bouquet knew he didn't have the outright grunt to hold on to the position, so just slowed the car down on the apex. And Bouquet going super off the racing line, trying to break the toe. A bit of a flash there we just saw from Nashkadashvili. Oh, super risky as they've got cars exiting the pit there, and the battle was going on. Nashkadashvili goes to the inside on turn 1. Can't get it done there. Can he do anything on the exit at turn 2? Yes, he can, down towards turn 3. He's going to have a nice little run. He's going to be on the inside of the braking zone as well. If he can just hold on to this, he'll regain 3rd place. So on the brakes, goes in, does get the position done, moves across very quickly, and then gets the car slowed down, takes the position back off of Bouquet. These two drivers have just been going at it flat out. We saw Bouquet towards the end of the first stint really picking up the pace and absolutely going for it. It does seem like with those fresh tyres, Nashkadashvili maybe does have a slight advantage. Again, Nashkadashvili moves straight off the racing line over to the right-hand side. An idea of the speed as they come flat out past. Oh, that's a bit of a slide there from Nashkadashvili. Both drivers do just about keep it within the lines, though. Nobody breaking the rules quite yet. Brenoir into the pits, Ulovich into the pits as well. We've also got Hill in the pits. Jimmy Holm, our 2nd place driver, is into the pits. So let's have a little bit of a jump forward. We've got Bjorkvist. And then we've got Clifford, Meervels, Fernandez. So our leader hasn't pitted yet. Are we going to see a super long run like we saw from the panel beater yesterday? Jonathan Clifford, I think, is going through. I think that is Chris Vining, who obviously had damage. So I think he is out of place. That Mercedes. But Bjorkvist technically running in 2nd place at the moment. Where is Jimmy Holm? Let's see if we can spot them as well. Jimmy Holm now in 16th place, has completed his pit stop, but how far ahead of Brenoir has he managed to stay? Oh, Brenoir's got back through. No, that's why I'm getting mistaken. Brenoir versus Bouquet. The two names, for some reason my mind sees them as the same thing. But no, Nashkadashvili is still holding on to the position over Bouquet. But there you go, you get an idea of how far ahead Jimmy Holm still is. About half the length of the back straight is still the advantage he has. Let's have a little bit of a jump back. This is the battle for 20th place. Buzzoff versus Arlavi. Just under 42 minutes of the race left to go. Oh, just about keeps it within the lines then, Arlavi. KWA DI. That team racing there, car number 189. Kristinich and Delebra into the pits as well. That's from 12th to 13th place. Ryan Cooper still out there. He is coming into sector 3 again now. So we're going to jump on board with him. Has he got any traffic around him? He has got a few cars starting to build up in front of him. I'd be interested to see how far he decides to go. Obviously the Bentley feeling pretty comfortable. Maybe he's going to go as long as possible, looking to see what the weather does. very, very small window to take advantage of the changing weather yesterday. But at the moment, he's sticking out. So he's done over half the race now on the same set of tyres. Dashkadashvili to Bouquet. Still about half a second between them. Oh, kind of a 555. That is Davey. We saw a yellow flag there. We're going to jump back on the replay, see what we can spot. So this was actually, I think, the battle going on in front of our race leader. So these are technically, they are back markers. Yeah, there you go. You can see Cooper in the back of the shot. Oh, that was very, very close. Was that the incident that happened there? Oh, it was. It was a case of just got caught in that one. Very, very unfortunate. Ryan Cooper does make it through without any incident. That was a little bit unfortunate. I think that was Vujanovic trying to avoid that car that was leaving the pits. Ended up unsettling the car and then obviously had to fling himself to the inside. He really had nowhere to go and sadly just caught the back of Hill. So hopefully Hill's not carrying too much damage. But Vujanovic has lost a lot of ground over the 555 car with that one. Bouquet, oh, here we go, there's the moves going on again. Bouquet has gone through. What happened there? We're seeing a flash the lights from Dashkadashvili. He's obviously not happy about something. What is going on here? We're jumping on board, but we were watching the replay and we missed a little bit of it. So back to another replay immediately. So Bouquet all over the back of him. This is obviously through the final sector. Hell of a run, does get up the inside and gets a decent run off the exit. It was very, very brave, but yeah, Dashkadashvili flashing, but realistically, nothing really out of the ordinary. And then they change places again. Oh, for goodness sake, they just keep doing it. So we're back on it again. This is down into turn 1. We're going to keep an eye on this. Dashkadashvili dives to the inside, does get himself through immediately. So I think it's now going to be a case of can these two make it to the end of the race cleanly. They are doing very, very well at the moment. They are putting on an absolutely fantastic bit of driving for us. Very, very aggressive from the pair of them, but keeping it clean. This really is fantastic stuff to watch. But look at that as well. You've got Kondaborov coming up the back of them. And now again, oh my goodness, the squabble going on between these two drivers into turn 8. It's absolutely insane. They're absolutely going at it. How on earth these two drivers are still on the road? Both cars showing quite a little bit of battle scarring now. I keep thinking to myself, at some point we'll be able to cut away and watch some other battles, but no, this seems to be the one to keep an eye on. Again, super, super close. They're taking such different lines, trying to gain speed in different parts of the track. Dashkadashvili at the moment holds on to it, but look at the way Kondaborov has caught up with the back of these two, and to be fair, the way they're squabbling, it might be a case that Kondaborov managed to get past both of them. I almost wish we didn't go back on the replay and we just kept watching the battles live, as we definitely missed a little bit of some argy-bargy going on down the back straight as well, I think, but at some point we had to bail out on all the replays and just stick with the live. Such different cars as well. You're looking at the McLaren versus that versus the Porsche. Not only is the paint scheme incredibly different, one of them absolutely using all the colour and the other using absolutely none, but just the way the cars can corner, the way they can brake. And here we go again, down the back straight. Bouquet is going to probably catch up on the back of Dashkadashvili. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't. He's going to be pushing hard to get onto the back of him. Meerveld, who was up in 4th place, is now pitted. So is Clifford. Bouquet looking to the outside. He has got a little bit of a run. I think these two have maybe given up being super polite and giving up positions. Are we going to see a move here into turn 9? He's going to have to try and get the car really switched back. He does look to the inside under braking. Can't get it done. Kondaborov as well now, right on the back of them. Kondaborov looking to take advantage of these two squabbling. Arlavi in the battle. Buzzoff as well starting to come into this. These two could really start tripping each other over. They are well down in the lap times. They're putting in 156s. which is absolutely terrible compared to what we've been seeing earlier on. They're like 3 seconds a lap slower than they were earlier on in the race, simply because they are throwing everything at the overtakes to get past each other. Neither of them willing to give up the position. Bouquet has now got to start looking in his mirrors a little bit. He's going to have to be careful. Decent bit of weaving going on between both these drivers now, Nashvili and Bouquet. I think they are going to have to be a little bit careful. Bouquet having to go very, very defensive into turn 1. Kondobarov really starting to push and try and get ahead. It'll be interesting to see what the Ferrari can do in the brakes compared to Porsche. Up to this point, now Porsche has been a force to be reckoned with. Just about holds on to it. Amazingly pointy, the front end of that car. I'm really surprised how well it is doing on the front end. Nashvili, unless the timing board sorts itself out, these two, Nashvili and Bouquet, have been squabbling so much that they have lost themselves a massive amount of time. Because at the moment, Holmes running in 10th, Clifford in 11th, and Meerveld, Clifford and Meerveld have managed to jump the pair of them while they've been squabbling for so long during the pit period. So for all this fighting, desperately trying to get positions, they've actually ended up losing multiple positions. So when everyone's done their pit stops, they're no longer going to be fighting for 3rd place. They're going to be quite a reasonable way down the grid. They've still, you've still got, well, Ryan Cooper's still to pit, and he's now in the pits actually now. I mean, realistically, it's not going to make any difference to when he comes out the pit. He's still going to be in pole position. But Clifford and Meerveld, these two have really taken advantage of the squabbling going on between Nashvili and Bouquet. I mean, championship points-wise, terrible. For us at home, absolutely fantastic. And I imagine the two of them are having a great time in the cockpits as well. It does seem like we've basically kept an eye on these cars nearly the entire time. Here we go. So here's Ryan Cooper. He has completed his pit stop. So he is, again, our leading pitted car. On the road, technically, Bogus is in 1st place, but he has not done his pit stop yet. So waiting for the timing boards to kind of sort themselves out a little bit, because I'm not sure that seems right of where... Here we go, now they're starting to sort themselves a little bit more. So cars that have pit, I don't think that seems right for Fernandez and Bjorkqvist. I don't think they're that far up, unless they've pulled an absolute blinder. There we go, it's starting to sort themselves out a little bit. Right, so pole position, if we're looking at cars that have pitted, is Ryan Cooper. Then we've got Jimmy Holm, who has significantly closed up the gap, but is still a fair old way back. Then we've got Jonathan Clifford, who has now found himself up in 3rd place, essentially. Bjorkqvist in 4th. Nashvili is now running a little bit further back. Meerveld has now dropped behind, but Meerveld's in front of them on the track, so I'm not sure. I think the time board's having a right odd wobble as all these cars battle with each other. Nashvili holds on to the position. There's a little bit of a rub. Even more rubbing, and now they're both about to lose the position. Bouquet dropping back through the pack now. Oh, I don't think that's what he would have wanted. He's lost a lot of positions there. Cars coming absolutely flying through. And Bouquet did lose a fair bit of ground. We're going to go back 10 seconds to get a bit of an idea of what happened. Not quite far enough back, I don't think. But Bouquet, after being the one to watch and flying forward, has suddenly found himself back in the pack. He's gone for his classic move into the final turn, guns it and then gets the brakes super late. Does manage to get in and gets the car in front and gets it done. So Bouquet is now running just in front of Buzzoff. Nashvili is now in the battle with Robert Arlavi. And Arlavi already looking like the aggressor here, is really pushing. But again, the big winners through all of this have been Clifford, Bjorkqvist and Meerveld. The other two have been slowing themselves down so much that they've ended up losing 3 positions each. So they were fighting for 1 and they ended up losing 3, and it is amazing what can happen when you get yourself blinded to the rest of the race and you end up doing things like this where you are just squabbling and it's been about an hour of squabbling. And now it is all coming back to bite them. Arlavi obviously pushing through, has gone through on Bouquet, and he's continuing on towards the back of Nashkadashvili. And that BMW is going to be something to keep an eye on down the back straight. I would imagine that Arlavi is going to have the legs. So Bouquet, again, very fast, and, you know, he's been a very aggressive, fighty driver. Oh, Nashkadashvili goes way too deep in turn 8, and there we go, picked up the drive-through penalty. So for all the effort and all the fighting, he now picks up a drive-through penalty, and so he's going to go tumbling down the order. Imagine Bouquet is rubbing his hands together in excitement as he tries to go around the outside of Arlavi. Can't get it done, but he left himself open. Oh, and there's an incident there going on behind. And that was buzz off, and which one of the other ones was that? That was car number, that was Kondaborov, wasn't it? Kondaborov with a big snap oversteer after a little bit of rear end impact, and he goes flying off. So he won't lose all the positions, but there we go. Nashkadashvili immediately into the pits. Watts in the pits, Megan's in the pits as well. We'll jump on board with Lucas Eage, because love seeing a bit of Lucas Eage out there on the circuit. Look at the state of that poor Porsche. Absolutely battered. Barely any white paint left on the thing now. I think that's a mixture of just road filth and also a little bit of rubbing going on. So Bogus in pole position at the moment. Lucas Eage in second. These two drivers have not pitted. And then you can see in the background... A quick jump on. It's an all-white front row at the moment. The Apex 1 Academy and the Magical Mirror. So, but leading after the pit stops, Ryan Cooper is still leading. He has a decent old lead over Jimmy Holm, but it is nothing like it was before. But those two drivers putting in very, very similar lap times. And we see Jimmy Holm here through turn 8 as well. Then we've got Jonathan Clifford versus Bjorkvist. So this is the battle for 5th place, although technically this is the battle for 3rd place. So these two drivers have pitted. So earlier on we were looking at this Nashkadashvili battle and thinking to ourselves, oh, well, that's pretty much it. Those two are going to squabble it out to the end. But they have played around so much that they've now dropped right back. And in all of it, Nashkadashvili ended up picking himself up a drive-through penalty and is now... Well, I'm not sure if he's just retired or what's happened there. Nashkadashvili, I think he has retired from the race with that drive-through. So, tumbled down... And Bouquet is all the way down in 9th place. So, all change. Not what I thought was going to happen at all. So this is now Clifford versus Bjorkvist, and Meerveld is catching up with the back of them. This could be an absolutely fantastic return to form from Meerveld. And I really do think, looking back at this next group of cars, I wonder if maybe Bouquet has done a bit more damage than he intended with those tyres. A move up the inside. I think that was Fernandez. And, oh, car's going everywhere. Let's see if we can jump back 10 seconds and catch that one. We'll go to the helicam and see what on earth was going on there. So, oh. So, Fernandez nearly gets into the back of Buzov. Buzov sees that there might be an incident about to happen and actually abandons the corner. So a bit of a preemptive, oh, I better dive out the way. I'm not sure if there would have been contact or not. So understandable. It didn't really gain an advantage of any kind, as Fernandez definitely wasn't going to get past him at that point. But it's always a little bit risky doing things like that. You never know when you're going to pick things up. Jonathan Clifford on an absolute flyer, but it doesn't matter because Bjorkvist is on even more of a flyer down the back straight, and who's going to have it on to turn 8? They go side by side. They rub together. And Bjorkvist somehow gets it back in, but to avoid a track limits abuse, he then loses the position to Meerveld. So Meerveld is now in this battle for 3rd place. Jonathan Clifford didn't give up the inside ground. There was a little bit of a rub between him and that GTR of Bjorkvist. It was such a high commitment, high speed part of the circuit as well. The smallest touch is going to do a lot of damage. So to be fair, losing one position there for Bjorkvist was probably about as well as that battle could have gone. Fernandez still squabbling it out with Robert Arlavi, and as well we've got Kondaborov trying to come through the back as well. Not quite able to do it yet. Tries to get a better run here. Are we going to see something down into turn 1? We might do. I think we're going to have to jump back on board with this one as well. Meerveld still just about got ahead of Bjorkvist, but no change there. So going back to this buzz-off battle. And also Kondaborov in the background, can't do anything, just has to hang on to the back of him, can't quite get round. The OGA Motorsport BPM soft Ferrari, that car number 31, looking to regain some positions on the circuit. Just over 25 minutes of the race left to go. Buzz off in front is trying to buzz off and just isn't able to. Fernandez mobbing the back of him. Up further ahead, Van Meerveld is now under attack from Bjorkvist. They're going on the back straight. Car number 14 I've just seen with a yellow flag. And that was Elliot Watts. Might have to leave that one when we keep a little eye on this battle. He's still got the yellow flag and has returned to the pits, and I think he may have retired. Still pushing on nicely. Just seeing in the chat, people asking, they're just not understanding the strategy for car number 705 and 199. That is Bogus and Luca Zige. I think it is simply a fact of they're just trying to keep some clear air. They know they're not ever going to sort of be right there at the very start. I think they're trying to just gain the advantage as they've been in squabbles basically the entire first half of the race. So now that all their closest rivals have pitted, they're just enjoying a bit of free air. It might be the case that obviously they are losing a little bit of time because their tyres have now done over an hour. But it does mean they're not squabbling with anyone, whereas their other rivals, if they all pitted at the same time, are still going to be on top of each other, a bit like these three. So they know they're not going to be able to take it all the way to the end, but they should be good. And now here we go. Here's a little bit of an overtake round the outside. God, that's going to be an absolutely ridiculous move. Does get it done though. Fair play there from Bjorkvist, managing to get that one done. Goes round the outside, then the inside, then the outside again of Meerveld. Driving the absolute boots off of that Nissan GTR. So having a little look at the lap times, if we're looking at what Bogus and Luca Zige are doing, they are doing 154s, sort of mid to high 154s, and then to be fair, it's not that far off the times that people were doing in that area. There's sort of a bit of a mix depending on who's in a battle and who's not. You're sort of looking at 154s all the way up to 156s, kind of a 95. I've just seen a yellow flag pop up for that one. That was kind of a 95, I'm sure it was 95. That was Buzz-Off. So what happened to Buzz-Off? That was with Fernandez, it looks like, down towards turn 8. So down the back straight. What happens here? Fernandez looks to try and go around the outside. Can't get it done. But he is still there. Oh, and I think that was one of those classic ACC moments where it just decides, oh, yeah, the green flag while the car is backwards in front of you. Well done, Mr. Flagman. Well done, stewards. But that was a big hit. The back end of that Ferrari took an absolutely monstrous crunch into the wall, which is now surely going to be carrying significant damage. So, keeping a little bit of an eye on front once again. 20 minutes of the race left to go. Two drivers, Bogus and also Zige, still have not done their pit. Car number 189 has just popped up with a yellow flag. That is Robert R. Larby. What happened here? So he looks like he's fairly on his own. That's down towards turn 1. Through turn 2. I'm sure it was car number 189. I'm going to be very disappointed in myself if I got that wrong. What happens here? Oh, I think he just clips the sausages, and then yes, a little bit more, and that blue stuff, that blue and black tarmac is It's grippy, but it's a different kind of grippy. It's a bit of an odd surface to be driving on. It can certainly catch you off guard. Very easy to just make a mistake and over-rotate the car. So our Larvi does drop down to 13th place. There we go. Bjorkvist has finally pitted. No, that wasn't Bjorkvist, was it? Who was in? Oh no, Bogus. He's still there. For some reason I thought he'd pitted, but he hasn't. He's now done an hour and 10 minutes on one fuel tank and one set of tyres. You've got to be getting a little bit close to the end of the tank, and the same for old Luca Ziege as well. We see this from Luca Ziege quite a lot. He always goes for a super late pit. But here we go. Here's the battle going on. This is for 3rd place. And Jonathan Clifford catching onto the back. Actually, no, Bjorkvist has gone through, hasn't he? Bjorkvist has gone through on Clifford. According to the timing board, that is a bit of a change of position. So Bjorkvist gets himself up into 3rd place. Fantastic drive from him with the GTR this evening. So now the squabble continues. It's Clifford versus Meerveld. Car number, there was a brief yellow flag there at the final turn. That's car number 22. What was that? Car number 22 is Sumeron, who is way further down the pack. Not gone his way at all this evening for Anton, to be fair. 27th place, he'll be very disappointed in that. Bogus finally comes into the pits. After an hour and 10, he somehow managed to get his tyres and fuel to go that far, but he's now decided now is the time to jump in. Mr. Jones, a little bit further back, this is for 17th place. He's got Brenoir coming in. Yeah, so as we said just a moment ago, Bogus is into the pits, and he is technically in pole position, but that is only because he had not pitted until this time. Luca Ziege has now been caught up by Ryan Cooper, the actual race leader. So technically this is a battle for position, but it's not really going to make too much of a difference because Ziege still has to pit. He's going to lose this position, so he doesn't want to get too squabbly with Cooper. Because although it is technically pole position, because of the lack of pit stop from Ziege, he's going to lose these positions anyway. So I'd be surprised if he goes super defensive, but he obviously doesn't have to give up the race. Just under 18 minutes of the race left to go. It's looking like our closest battle on track is this battle here, Jonathan Clifford. Apologies if anyone just got a weird little pop-up app on the screen there. Continuing on, Jonathan Clifford seems to be holding his own. Bjorkvist has definitely started to run away. Luca Ziege obviously has been overtaken by Cooper. He's still fighting the back of Cooper quite hard. I'm really surprised at Luca Ziege. I mean, again, it's that thing about there is no point. Oh, and in fact, you can see him starting to go deep. I think now he's starting to maybe realise how much time he's been losing comparative to other people as he's now trying to keep up with the back of our leader. Surely Ziege is coming in this time. I'm going to stick with him on this corner just to see if he does finally come into the pits. Is he coming in? No, he's not. The man's a madman. He is still going. I just cannot believe it. How far away is Jimmy Holm? Jimmy Holm not that far back. They are outlapping him by a second and a half each go. Bogus had a bit of a slow one that time round with a 2:04 last lap. Wait, Bogus. Wait, how on earth is where on earth on the track is Bogus? Has Bogus pulled an absolute blinder and currently he's running in 4th place? Surely that can't be right. Yes, it is. So Bogus, who we all thought was absolutely insane and has only just done his pit stop, is now somehow up in 4th place on the track. So was it as utterly insane as we thought? I'm so utterly confused by the timings right now. But Bogus, car number 705 for Apex 1 Academy. I think everyone was looking at those times and thinking, there's is just, why is he staying out so long? But pulled it out the bag, and he's now got fresh tyres, I would presume, this late in the race, unless he's done a splash and dash and he's going to try and run his tyres for the entire hour and a half, which in my mind would be absolute vehicular suicide. With 15 minutes of the race left to go, I'm trying to think, so we're looking at about probably another 8-ish laps, possibly, if my maths is kind of right. Probably isn't. Feel free to tell me I'm wrong. 7 or 8 laps. But he is under attack from Bjorkqvist. Bjorkqvist looking like a much faster driver. Actually, I'm pretty sure if you change tyres it's 30 seconds, but if you don't change tyres and you just fuel, you can get it down less than 30 seconds. But how on earth he has managed to pull this one? I'm looking at his lap times, so this is actually Bogus's first flyer, and he's doing 154s. Lucas Z's just finally come into the pits. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with Lucas Z's. He's still in the pits. So I have no idea what went on between these, what went on with Bogus to be able to do that. But he has now just lost the position. I don't think he changed tyres. He must have just done a splash and dash. This is one of those things where, because it is these mini endurance racing this time round, with this 90-minute race, it changes. There is a mandatory stop. There is no mandatory tyre change, and you are allowed to refuel. So I think he's gone for a bit of a splash and dash, which seems absolutely insane. But looking at his lap times, it does make sense. But he now, sadly, is hemorrhaging positions. So what looks to be like the absolutely hero move of the day might not be, as he's still got 13.5 minutes of the race left to go. And if he's going to try and go the full hour and 30 on one set of tyres, they are going to be pretty hanging by the end of it. I mean, yeah, his lap times really haven't changed much from before the pit stop, so it's not looking like it's going to be the best run to the line for this gentleman. Ryan Cooper has, however, continued to break away, got his pit strategy just about right, I think. He did lose a little bit of time with Jimmy Holm, but I think he had so much of a lead it didn't really matter. Jimmy Holm, who is running in second place, followed by Bjorkqvist, who has just come powering through. Jonathan Clifford now running in 4th place. Meerveld in 5th. And then we've got Bogus, who has dropped back to 6th place. And he's going to have Bouquet, the Flying Frog, coming up behind him. And Fernandez in the BMW as well. So this is Bouquet just coming through turn 1. Fernandez, again, just coming through turn 1. Kondabarov and Benjamin King rounding out the top 10. The 555 car, we've just seen the yellow flag come up for that car. I think that is Davy Hill. We'll jump back 30 seconds and see what happens here. That is the 524. That's Chris Vining. So does something happen here at turn 8, or is it at turn 9? Vining's definitely got the run. He does look to the inside under brakes. Doesn't seem to get anything done there. What happens? Oh, that was a big old bump there from Vining. You can hear the anti-stall coming in there as he tries to get the car shifted and going again. But yeah, Vining with a big old hit on the back end. Oh, and because of that, Davey Hill gets himself a drive-through for track limits. So, bit of a double sting on that one. Davey Hill will be very disappointed with that. The Amigos Racing team. Gaz Lucas currently running in 16th place. Good to keep a little eye on things a little bit further back. He's got Grenoir coming up behind him. He's got Basov just in front. So this this looks like a nice little battle coming into the last 10 minutes of the race. This looks like it's closing right up. Brenoir looks to be on the back of Kaz Lucas in that 769 Lexus. He's doing a really good job, a convincing job of closing up on the back of him. Through turn 13, let's swing it into 14. Gap coming tumbling down. Lexus, though, has got the legs just here. It seems to be able to get off the line and pull away pretty well. Pushing forward a little bit. I was saying that Meerveld was in a bit of a close one, but I think that's a bit of a timing board wobble. He is fairly close to the back of Clifford, but not close enough to be making a move. Bogus still running in 6th. He is a second a lap slower, though, than the Flying Frog behind with Bouquet. So he's got a long, long way to go. He's got just under 10 minutes to go. And the way that time is coming down, I don't think he's going to be able to hold on to that position somehow. Kaz Lucas, again, back to this battle. He's got Brenoir right on the back of him. So that was turn 8. Are we going to see a move here? 9.5 minutes left to go. It's been a long old stint. Tries to go around the outside at turn 8. Can't get it done. Not going to happen. Might be able to do something here into turn 9 of the braking zone. Looks to the inside. Oh, there's a big rear end shunt. Really strong recovery from Kaz Lucas. Doesn't stall the car. Is off the track and manages to spin it. And he's immediately back on it and on the attack. Don't think it was necessarily intentional, but that was a big, big shunt that Brenoir ended up doing then. Really did send that Lexus absolutely flying. We'll see if we can catch it again. So here it is, mid-corner. Yes, there you go. There's the contact. Spins the car, sends him round. And that was the end of that one for him. So this is Delabra versus Vajolovic. BMW versus Lamborghini. My brain broke for a brief moment then. So 8 minutes left of the race. 8 minutes left. Probably around the time it takes to go around a particularly long circuit in the middle of Germany. It'd be interesting to do an endurance race there when it does come out. But I think that would be something to keep an eye out for. Right, further down the grid, Nesterov versus Brinker. Brinker just about makes it through. And yes, gets it done. Goes through on Nesterov. Unless that's the other way around, I have to double check. It's 2 Ferraris, it always makes it nice and difficult to work out. Yes, that's right, Brinker has gone through on Nesterov. I have to double check the numbers on that one to make sure I read everything as I should have. 7 minutes of the race left to go. Ryan Cooper still with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:52.872. Still pushing significantly hard and putting an absolutely fantastic show. Just jump on board with them quickly now. We've got Jimmy Holm, who's running in 2nd place. A driver who has spent a lot of time in no man's land this evening. Dennis Bjorkvist in the little GTR that could, up into 3rd place. Then we've got Jonathan Clifford a little bit further back, being chased down by fan favourite Van Meerveld. And if I said to you this is what the top 3 was going to look like, what the top 5 was going to look like earlier in the race, you would have laughed at me out the booth. You would have said, no, it's going to be Bouquet and Nashgadashvili, but after a lot of squabbling between the two of them, on the road they started to lose positions, and then as it turns out, they started to then just lost it all, which is a bit of a shame. We had incidents between them, so I imagine the stewards are going to have to going. Okay, looking back a little bit further. Oh, there's Bogus versus Bouquet. Again, this is... Yeah, it's about 2 seconds a lap, and up the inside goes Bouquet. He's going to have the extra grip. He took tyres. He's done a few more laps. Somehow Bogus hanging on to it at the minute. It's probably quite difficult to get past this car, simply because it's sort of a bit slow in the oddest of places due to the tyre wear. But we've seen Bouquet do some absolutely stunning things on the brakes. How on earth he nearly got out-braked them by a floundering GTR. But there we go, he does his classic up the inside into turn 14, gets it done. We've seen him do that move multiple times this evening. I think it's caught a lot of drivers off guard. There is nothing wrong with it at all. So, just noticing in the chat, Andrex UK, thank you ever so much for being involved this evening. It's been absolutely fantastic to have you in the chat. You must come back to racing. Come on back. You'll love it. It's great. The custom BOP has made it absolutely fantastic. But yeah, Bogus and Bouquet, that move's done now. So Bogus down to 7th. Fernandez is the next driver, who again is vastly outlapping, and immediately there he is, right on the back of him. He is sniffing around the back. Hopefully I've chose splitter cam. Oh, there we go. There's the splitter cam. So looking forward from the front of Fernandez's BMW. Even here on the back straight, but there's not much cornering to be done. You can see the way the GTR is absolutely floundering at this point, not able to put the power down. And through goes Fernandez. And we should see the GTR appear in the back of the shot. It's not quite. They are absolutely side by side. Nothing between them at all. He finally gets it done just as I cut away to a different camera. But there you go, over the rear wing, and you can see Bogus is now down into 8th place. So he has got Kondabarov and Benjamin King, the next drivers, to be coming up behind. Decent old gap back to those guys though, so I think he should be okay for the minute or two. Dennis Bjorkvist with what has been an absolutely stunning drive. 3.5 minutes or a little bit less to go. Still holding on to it for the moment. He's got Jonathan Clifford behind, but there's a bit of a gap. Then it is Van Meerveld. Bouquet, who has just got past Bogus. Really, really hoping that Bogus manages to bring it home inside the top 10. That would be a great finish. I've just noticed that the timing screen is saying it's going to rain in about 30 minutes, but that doesn't matter because you've only got 2 minutes and 50 seconds left of this race to go. Robert Arlavi was popping up as having a little bit of a battle, but I think that's the timing board having yet another wobble as they come across the line. Kaz Lucas and Ulovic, these two fairly close together. Looking at the lap times, Ulovic should be able to get through. We'll keep an eye on this one for a bit longer. Oh, and Brenoir picking up a drive-through penalty this close to the end. Absolutely savage. Not what you would have wanted. It's car number 12. I'm trying to work out where on the circuit they are. I think they are... got to be on that back straight at this time, in amongst all the other numbers that are buried in amongst themselves. But here we go, Kaz Lucas on the... well, no, sorry, no. Ulovic on the offensive, nipping at his heels like an angry dog at the postman. But he is not all bark, no bite. He is a man that can get the job done. Ulovic, car number 45, continuing down the back straight. The only saving grace for that Lexus is the fact that it is an absolute atom bomb in a straight line. BMW does look to the inside though, can't get it done. Going to be behind them for a little bit longer. So I think this is going to be Ryan Cooper on his last lap. He may just squeeze it across the line, but I'd be very, very surprised if he does actually manage to get across the line before the time he gets to 0. He's down at turns 4 and 5 at the moment. We're sticking on board with these two because this seems to be the closest of the squabbles. Got a bit of a one going on further up as well, but not too bad. We're going to check in on the rogue that is Bogus, who is still holding on to 8th place at the moment. He's got a little bit of a gap going back, and I imagine he is just praying the time away. The tyres underneath him screaming out in pain at the moment. Fernandez versus Bouquet. This little battle heating up towards the end. This is almost certainly going to be their final chance. Fernandez throwing everything at it. And Bouquet goes to the left, goes to the right, and he now moves back over to the left. He's probably going to have to stay out here. Oh, BMW's got past the Lexus. We're going to keep a little eye on this one. In fact, no, we're not. We're going to go over to our leader. We're going to have to do it. It's now coming around the final corner. Ryan Cooper with yet another absolutely fantastic effort. It's going to be another pole position for him here this evening. Just absolutely stunning bit of driving from this gentleman. And again, comes across the line. Jimmy Holm about to come across the line in 2nd place. Jimmy Holm, great effort, great qualifying, really well done. Bjorkvist, I really think, deserves a bit of a round of applause here this evening. We will double check exactly where he qualified, but coming across the line in 3rd in the GTR of all things. Fantastic effort. Jonathan Clifford as well, great effort. Meerveld, great to see him up inside the top 5. Bouquet just about holds on to it against Fernandez. Really nicely done. But this was Kaz Lucas versus Ulovic. Kaz Lucas is still just about in front. Oh, we're going to see a bit of a dive here into the final corner. No, Lexus goes defensive, shuts it down, and holds on to the position. Lucas Each finishes 15th overall. That's a fair effort for someone that went so far into the race on one set of tyres. Went really, really far into it. And there we go. Kaz Lucas comes across the line in 18th place, closely followed by his rival. Let's drop back a little bit as they come across the line. That is Vajolovic coming across the line, closely followed by, I think no, time board had a bit of a wobble there, deliberate. So that is pretty much everyone across the line. Let's go back to our leader, who have actually moved into the pits already. We're going to return to garage so we can have a little bit of a look at the timetables quickly. Let's have a quick check on Bjorkvist. Where did Bjorkvist? 7th place Bjorkvist qualified. So to come across the line in 3rd, that was a really, really strong effort from that man indeed. So hopefully we might get some people that are willing to come in for a little bit of a chat. Fingers crossed. But meanwhile, let's have a quick run through the old order of things and see how people did there. I'm just stretching out Discord so I can see it a little bit better. There we go. Lovely stuff. No one joining me in the box quite yet. So, 1st place, Ryan Cooper. 2nd place is Jimmy Holm, the homing missile. 3rd place was Bjorkvist. Jonathan Clifford in 4th. Matt Van Meerveld in 5th. Bouquet 6th. Fernandez 7th. Bogus 8th. Kondoborov 9th. And Benjamin King in 10th. And that is a fair old effort, I'm going to say, from Bogus as well. Let's have a double check on the qualifying as to where Bogus qualified. That was in 10th. And ended up coming across the line in 8th, so 2 positions gained. Jonathan Clifford, he was down at 13th and came across the line in 4th, so that's a serious effort. And Van Meerveld was 11th, so I think actually the biggest winner there is Jonathan Clifford. A fantastic effort. It'd be lovely to see if anyone is brave enough to come and join me in the chat. So far it hasn't happened. See if we can get them. Come on. I have never understand why people are too scared to come and join me. It would be absolutely fantastic for people to come and join me in here. I'm asking. I'm putting the questions out there. If you're in anyone's chat, Ryan Cooper, here we go. He's joined me. Fantastic. Right, let's drag Ryan Cooper in and get him in for a quick chat. In fact, let's quickly move over to a much nicer image because nobody wants to be staring at that the entire time. Let's move over to here. Put on the old Discord, and hopefully we should be able to get Ryan Cooper in for a chat. Mr. Ryan Cooper, will you just pack it in, sir?
Yeah, it was a fun race.
I mean, that is a little bit of an understatement. Very laid back one on that one. Pretty much led the entire race all the way through. There was a little bit at the beginning where we thought Nashkadashvili might be able to sort of get in front of you for a little while, but then you managed to break away. What was the strategy going into this race? Obviously, knowing it was going to be possible mixed weather, and obviously you saw probably last night the wet weather that the Tier 1 guys came into, so we got quite lucky with an all dry. But what was the sort of plan coming into this race?
Oh. Well, at first the plan was to just do the full tank and then run as long as possible. But then I got the pole position, and I saw it in the little box that does the weather forecast. I saw a little cloud in the sun. I was like, maybe I'll just take a little bit less fuel. So I think I ended up with 92 liters or something, and just go for it because I knew Holm was fast, the McLaren was fast, everyone behind me was fast. So I just decided to take 90 liters so I could be on pace with them. Because I think when you take more fuel, it's gonna be hard, and of course with this car on the straights, it's not the fastest thing around. And then yeah, it was just waiting if it was going to rain or not.
And it never came. It never came this evening. Were you running a sort of intermediate setup, or were you on a purely dry setup?
That was purely dry. I didn't even test in the rain.
Not even in that little spat we had at the end of at the practice session. But that's very, very brave. I mean, is it a circuit you've driven in the wet before, so you got a little bit of an idea, or were you just going to go into it, sort of go into it blind? I mean, at this point, I think you've got the championship in the bag anyway. I don't think there's much chance of you losing it by having a bad finish. But to get yet another pole position is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, even with this rain, it was gonna be. I think yesterday with the split one, it was also like it was worth staying out because it was just tiny, light rain. And now in the end of the session, you could also see the forecast coming up. It was rain in 30 minutes, and it was also the light rain. So it wasn't too big of a gamble. It would only be if it's like heavy rain. But yeah, the championship is
It's all
I
but
think
done at this
yeah.
point. Before this race, you were 144 points ahead of Nesterov. And this evening, Nesterov finished down in 12th. I think it's Kubacki was then in third place in the championship. And he's not even. I don't even know if he was here this evening because he's not inside the top 20. So, I mean, realistically, championship wise, it's looking very, very strong for you. I don't think realistically there's anyone that can sort of come after you. Nesterov was one of those drivers who I think is pretty much settled on second place in the championship. The rest of the battle was kind of going on for that third slot, and that's still all up in the air and all over the place. But it's looking like you're probably going to take it. So I think this might be the only chance I get to have a proper chinwag with you before you go over to Tier 1 next season, because I can't see you staying in Tier 2 with this kind of dominance, because you've had a second place, a first place, a second place, a first place, and then you've ruined your nice little pattern by getting another first place here tonight at Paul Ricard. Obviously, Suzuka is the next time round. Are you fairly confident you can get yourself on the podium again at Suzuka?
Uh, not at all, I think. No,
Not
but
at all.
I don't.
The confidence in this man, I love it.
No, I don't know. I'm not really driven there with the Bentley, and a lot of people say it's really, really bad there. So let's see what we can do. Um, but on the other hand, maybe if I just can do consistent laps, I can still get like top five or podium. Should be possible. I'm just gonna try as hard as I can, as always.
Well, I mean, yeah, it seems to be working absolutely perfectly for you at the moment. You had some lovely little battles going on track as well. It was great stuff to see, and then after you managed to break away from everyone. While everyone kept squabbling, you just managed to hunker down and absolutely fly away. So thank you ever so much for joining us this evening, Ryan. Any final words before we move on to one of your people you appreciate the most? Mr. Jimmy Holm is waiting to come in as well. So any final words?
Oh yeah, thank you to Jimmy and Luca for hanging out with me, and thank you to Timo Karpinen for the setup because it was awesome.
Fantastic. Thank you ever so much, Ryan, and we'll see you next week, no doubt. Probably up in the interview booth again. It's becoming it's becoming a little bit of a repetitive thing, which is nice. It's good to see. It's nice to see someone coming up and rising through the ranks so quickly and progressively. Right, let's move on to Jimmy Holm. Thank you, Ryan. Jimmy Holm, the homing missile. For a little while, we thought you might end up sort of not getting anywhere near the top when you were battling with everybody, but second place, absolutely fantastic effort. Talk us through that race for you, sir.
Hello, yeah, thank you. It was a surprisingly decent race. I overperformed in the qualifying, set my best lap of the week in qualifying, which is always a nice thing. At the start, I obviously got stuck behind the McLaren. Nothing I could do to him. The straight line speed difference is just too significant. So I guess I have to thank him because he let me go, which kind of saved my entire race and allowed me to get the podium in the end. After the pit stops, after Ryan got out of the pits, I kind of slowed down a bit, had nothing left to fight for, so quite a relaxing race after that one.
Yeah, it did look like in that second half of the race, you were outlapping everyone behind you, but Ryan in front was just outlapping you sort of only by a couple of tenths every lap. So your no man's land that you were racing in just seemed to get bigger and bigger as you were going. So it became a bit of a session for just hot lapping and seeing how well it could go. I'm having a little bit of a look. I think that's your best finish so far this season. You've had a third place, but this is your first second place this season. So looking really good because you did get a little taste of Tier 1 last season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I was in Tier 1, but I only did 2 races and I was still driving the Ferrari back then. So this is a new car for me for this season and I'm still trying to get up to pace. But even if I do, Ryan is in a league of his own, so nothing I can do about that.
Yeah, we were just chatting with Ryan a minute ago. So he's been first or second every single race. So like every once in a while, we sort of get people that come through Tier 2 and they just absolutely sort of dominate it, and we only see them really for like 1 or 2 seasons and then disappear up into Tier 1 or into other places. So but I say you definitely are one of those drivers that is one to look out for when you're there in the battle. You do not go soft on anyone. You and Nashkadashvili were having some great battles. That was the McLaren that you were battling with earlier on in the race, and in the end it was actually it was Nashkadashvili and one of the other cars. Which one was it? It was one of them. I've annoyingly forgotten which car it was, but they ended up squabbling so much they ended up losing more and more positions, and then they lost so much time before the pit stops that actually then they lost dozens of positions. It was quite strange to see these two cars absolutely going for it, and then suddenly, it was Bouquet. Yeah, it was Bouquet and Nashkadashvili. Those two, I think, ended up losing themselves about 5 positions during the pit period, simply because they were just battling so much. They were losing second after second every lap. But obviously there was a possibility for changeable conditions here this evening. Did you go into it in a purely dry setup, or were you running a bit of an intermediate setup?
My setup was pretty much just hoping for dry, and if it rains, then we see what happens. I've never driven a race in this car in the wet, so who knows what would have happened.
And it is one of those cars that I still believe it is the kind of the meta at the moment is that you've got to run pretty much no traction control in these cars, or as low as you possibly can go. Just out of interest, what were you running on the TC this evening?
I'm not that skilled. I know that the aliens run TC off in this car, but in the races I run TC2 because that's safe enough for me to not make any major errors and end my own race early.
But to be fair, sometimes it is better to finish rather than finish first. As long as you can finish, that is all that matters, and consistency is a good one. I say, and it's looking pretty good. I think you've had 2 9th places. One of the races you couldn't get to, that was the second race. And then you've had a 3rd place, and now you've had a 2nd. So championship points-wise should see you sort of going up the orders a bit. I think everyone around you that was in front of you in the championship is significantly down on their times this time around. So you should gain at least 1 or 2 positions. You're not that far behind everyone. So fingers crossed. But Jimmy Holm, it's been absolutely fantastic having a chat with you. It is always great to get the homing missile in the chat with us. We love shouting out the homing missile. It is one of my favourite team names to see. I've got to quickly ask, obviously, you're technically not running in a team, but then you've got Ryan Cooper, who is in the Jimmy Holm appreciation team. You've got to tell me about where this came from, because there's another one as well. Luca Ziege is Jimmy Holm appreciation team. Is this a bit of a running joke between you guys, or what's going on here?
Yeah, it's just a bit of a friendly joke. We are friends in some other communities, and we race together in Discord and these races as well.
I do see you two. You two are fairly vocal in the social chats and stuff. It's fantastic to see. So it's one of those great things about Apex Online Racing is that we are trying to be a fairly friendly community and everyone gets involved. But any final words from you, Jimmy, before we call this one a night?
I'll just congratulate Ryan for a great race and a great season, and tell him that when he drives a real car, I'm going to beat him again.
Okie dokie. We'll see how it goes for that one then. Oh, I think the championship points have just come through. I think you're up into 2nd place. I think they've just been updated. I've just seen someone. Hang on, let's just double check. Before we get rid of you, we're going to have a quick look. Refreshing everything. Oh my God, it's come through immediately. Up into 3rd place in the championship now, Jimmy. That is a fantastic effort. Ryan Cooper, he's in pole. We won't even worry about that. Nestorov 2nd, and now you are 3rd place in the championship. So a podium finish in the championship is very much on the cards if you can continue doing what you're doing at the moment. I think as long as you can finish, then you might end up finishing 1st, which would be fantastic. But thank you very much, Jimmy. We're going to call that one a night now. Thank you very much for joining me. It's always nice to have people come in to join us in the interview box.
Yep, thank you. Have a good rest of the evening.
Thank you very much. Right, so that is us done here for Tier 2 Tuesday. It was 90 minutes of Paul Ricard. Everything went absolutely crazy towards the end. It was an absolutely fantastic race. So we had Ryan Cooper in pole, Jimmy Holm in 2nd, and Bjorkvist in 3rd. The little GTR that could. Bjorkvist bringing home an absolutely fantastic race for him. Thank you ever so much for joining us here this evening. We are going to cut to the outro in just a moment. But again, just a little tease. Just have a little bit of a think about what tracks are coming out soon for ACC if you're a player, or if you just keep an eye on everything by KUNOS. And, maybe think that, as I'm going to say, this was a mini endurance race in the middle of the Sprint Cup series, but we've done similar things and slightly longer form racing before. So maybe just have a little think about that. If you've stuck to the end, you have a little think. I'm not saying the words Nürburgring out loud. I said it out loud. Good night, everyone.